Hi, it's Ms. Barnhart, and let's continue our discussion of plants with a look at angiosperm reproduction. If you recall, angiosperms are seed plants that have flowers and fruits. While root stems and leaves are vegetative organs, the flower is the reproductive organ of these plants, and their seeds are enclosed in fruits. Although you likely think flowers are pretty, did you know that a flower can have both male and female reproductive organs present? There are four major parts of a flower: the carpel, sometimes called the pistil, which contains the female structures; the stamen, which contains the male reproductive structures; the petals, which help attract pollinators; and the sepals, which are leafy-like structures that protect the developing bud. Let's take a look at this flower diagram and identify where all the parts are located. Sepals are on the outside, then the petals. The stamen surrounds the carpel, which is labeled pistil on this diagram. A carpel can contain one or more pistils. Here's another picture with a bit more detail of the male and female reproductive structures in the flower. Here is the stamen with its anther. The anther makes the pollen grain, which makes the sperm. Each pollen grain makes two sperm. When we look at the female carpel, you can see that it has three parts: the top sticky stigma, which pollen sticks to when transferred; the long slender style, which allows the pollen tube to grow through; and the ovary, which contains the ovules and the egg. The ovary will ripen into a fruit. You can see the ovary with its enclosed ovules here. Let's now look inside the embryo sac, which is found inside of each ovule. There are only 8 haploid cells in the embryo sac: 3 antipodal cells, 2 polar nuclei, 2 synergids, and the egg, the ova. One thing that's really unique about angiosperm reproduction is that they have what we term double fertilization. What this means is that it takes 2 sperm to reproduce. One sperm joins with the egg and makes the 2-end zygote, which will become the embryo. The second sperm will join with the 2 polar nuclei to form the triploid endosperm. This is a 3-end food supply, which will be stored in the seed. The embryo sac develops into the seed, and the ovary ripens into a fruit. Can you see in this peach the ripened ovary, the fruit, and what was once the ovule? Now let's see how this all fits into alternation of generations. Like all plants, angiosperms go through what is called an alternation of generations, where there is an alternation of multicellular haploid and diploid forms. While haploid and diploid forms exist in all sexual life cycles, human gametes, for example, are haploid, the term alternation of generations is only used for those life cycles in which haploid and diploid stages are both multicellular. So let's take a look at what this really means. The multicellular diploid stage is called the sporophyte. This is the part of the flowering plant that you see every day. Meiosis in the sporophyte, this would be in the flower, produces haploid cells called spores. These haploid spores then undergo mitosis to form a multicellular structure called the gametophyte. That's the pollen grain and embryo sac in angiosperms. The gametophyte gives rise to gametes by mitosis. The gametes fuse, forming a diploid zygote. The diploid zygote then undergoes mitosis to form the multicellular sporophyte. So, the sporophyte forms spores and the gametophyte forms gametes. All structures in the sporophyte generation are diploid, and all in the gametophyte generation are haploid. While the sporophyte generation is one that's easily recognizable, the gametophyte generation here is microscopic. Please remember that the male gametophyte is the pollen grain, and the female gametophyte is the embryo sac. So the benefits of the seed are that it can remain dormant until conditions are right for germination. Let's examine what happens when a seed germinates. First, it absorbs a lot of water, which triggers the production of the hormone gibberellin. This activates an enzyme which starts breaking down starches so the plant can better grow. Can you look at a flower or a fruit, for that matter, in the same way ever again? Can you pick out the stamen and carpel in this picture? That's plant reproduction. I hope it was helpful.